Hi, welcome. My name is Leap. I'm very excited and I got a little caught off guard here, but my name is Leap. I use he, him, and welcome to Smallfolk. This is an Insight Check Presents Dungeons and Dragons game. This is a homebrew game where instead of elves, dwarves, and wizards, all of these amazing people, I think I'm in the left, so I'm going to try and point appropriately. All of these amazing people will be playing tiny adventures as mice, bats, lizards, beetles, and the like. Thank you so much for coming. This is our biggest game that we have streamed ever. You will see the most boxes we have ever offered. And we have some incredible new friends and incredible new guests that were here, where I'm just so excited and I'm trying to get back to my notes. Okay, so in a few minutes, we are going to have all of these incredible people introduce themselves. But for people who are listening to the podcast, who are on Twitch right now, if you are interested in learning more about Smallfolk, if you're in the Twitch right now, you can hit !Smallfolk, and our source document written by myself and my good friend Jay will be able to pop up magically in front of you, and you can sup on its nutritional value. Then, if you want to know how to find all of these people on Twitter, if you hit !Characters, you should be able to see all of our cast, and you can follow them in all of the amazing places that they exist. And last but not least, if you want to ask our cast questions, if you hit !Questions, we are going to collect all of the questions that are created today or later, and we are going to answer them on Twitter following the hashtag SmallfolkDND. So stay tuned for that. You can ask us about the game. You can ask us about the backstories for these characters. I have to say that right before we got on, our good friend Ascanius told us some really cool stuff about his beetle-born friend Ascanius, and there's more hidden around here. So please, I want to know more about my friends. And now I'm going to give myself a chance to breathe because I haven't for 2 minutes straight. And I am going to ask my friends to introduce themselves, their characters, and themselves, their pronouns, their characters, and their characters' pronouns. So, and We should have our order now, but we are going to start with our good friend Alvin.
Hi, I'm Alvin. I use he, him. I'll be playing Aeonix, the Wivotail Gunslinger. That's an auto. And he also uses he, him.
Awesome. I'm Andrew. I use he, him. My character is Dueler, whose pronouns are he, him, and he is a Smallfolk paladin.
And joining us from all the way in Australia is our guest and our good friend Dunami. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining.
Hi, everyone. My name's Adrian, but you and call me Dunami or Dune or Adrian, whatever you're comfortable with. My pronouns, as well as my characters, are he, him. Today, I'll be playing the dragon. I'm not sure which.
Oh, no.
His character is a mystery. We'll see it soon. But we will see. We have to roll to see if it is a dungeon or a dragon. We will find out. Samotep, my good friend, do you want to take us from here?
I am. I'm Tom. I'm he, him. I'm also Samotep, an exclamation point on Twitter, and I will be playing Nox, a proud scale druid who uses he, him.
Amazing. Eric, my friend, you are up.
My name's Eric. I use he, him. I am playing a Beetleborn paladin named Ascanius, who also uses he, him.
I think I went out of order, and I apologize.
Nope, that was me. Nope, I missed. I skipped.
It's right here in chat. And I missed it too.
Nope, I was looking at my notes. Sorry about that, buddy. It's all you.
It's all good. I thought I had messed up too. I apologize. I am Ooze. I use he, him. I am playing Akka, the proud scale singer who is in Leap's wonderful world. A singer is a sorcerer, and he also uses he, him.
Amazing.
Now, and I'll wrap things up. And I am Haley. I use she, her, and I'm very excited to be coming back with my bestest mouse friend, Nutella. She is a cleric of the light. She likes to eat, so we can't wait for more of that with more friends.
Yes. And you know what? This is actually a really good point in time to remind #EatAndSnack. This is table 2 of Smallfolk for people who have been watching or are watching for the first time. Here at Insight Check, we are running 2 separate stream tables of Smallfolk games. Table 1 will be playing soon. Table 2, it's been about a month since we've played. And as you could see by by myself, and it's not Uz's fault, I'm going to claim it, but we have proven our hashtag or our saying that we ain't Critical Role, man. So you're gonna see a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoy it. Now checking my notes, what we are going to do, we are going to I'm going to do some thank yous, and then we are going to get into a recap. So first and foremost, I want to thank our producer Draika, who is the only reason that this stream and all of the art that you see around it exists. I want to thank, I want to thank Ascanius, Eric himself, Eric Alloway, for some of the pixel-based art that you will see in the middle, that you have seen beforehand, that you will see all over on Twitter. I've been spamming a lot of the character stuff that he's done. It is just fantastic. He has a Patreon. You should follow it. You should give him all of your money. That's
maybe not all.
No, wait,
it's backwards. No, it's backwards on the stream. I'm looking at myself and I messed it up so bad. See, look.
I love it. I would like to thank.
Just Brady bunched it.
Yeah, just like look. I know I need to look down. That's what I need to
remember that if Sleep makes me mad, I can punch him.
Oh, my insides. That's awful. So I would like to thank our good friend Ember's Tide, which you can find at Ember's Tide or at D&D Raps. The music that you have heard on our way in and that you might hear in the actual stream was done entirely by him, which just drives me bananas that this is a thing. I would like to thank my friend Jay for helping be the foundation of this thing. Without him, these characters would not exist. And I would like to thank this incredible cast for taking time out of their very busy schedules and organizing a cross-continental game of tiny animal Dungeons and Dragons. And finally, I would like to thank you, the listener and watcher, for coming and watching with us, whether it is on Twitch with us right now, on YouTube later, or if you're listening over a podcast. It really means the world to us that you are taking a moment of your time to listen to our silly game. So thank you very much.
Real quick, I want to throw out one last thanks to Air for putting all of the Smallfolk races into D&D Beyond.
Yes.
Because that took probably a lot of time, and it's pretty cool to be able to pull those up.
Mm-hmm.
I would also like to throw a thanks in for Cal for creating my Riverfolk crest. An oddball.
Yes.
So thanks, Cal.
No, you guys are
I'll
the
interrupt
best.
you one last time to thank you for running this game for us.
Yes.
Yes.
That's nothing. Oh, speaking of, you can't see him. If you watched our first stream, I was cradling a small human. Fear not, he still exists. He
The
is
true
sleeping
DM.
upstairs.
You have
I
to
was
see that as a
nervous.
parent.
Yep, he is sleeping literally above me. And he has left me with all of his dangerous
Just
plans. And so you will hopefully Douglas won't kill anyone this time.
No.
Yeah, well, you never know with him. So when last our heroes were together, they had been invited or had found an invitation to one of the most sought after ceremonial parties in the valley called the Gloaming. The Gloaming is a mouse Thanksgiving. It happens as the dying light and heat of the summer and fall begins and the cold, dark winter season commences. So they have big parties with lots of food and festivals and games. And one of the most famous of the parties happens at an inn called the Trailside Inn. It is right off the main path of the valley's floor, and it is amongst high grass and leaves, and you turn a corner and it opens up to this long fallen log, which the Wisptail family has resided in for as long as anyone can remember. And their inn and the kitchens and the residences deep below are famous amongst mouse folk. Some of our party received invitations legitimately. Some were sent by others to follow instead. Some had found them amongst, well, they're going to tell us in a second. So I'm going to leave it there for now. And what I'm going to do is in the exact same order that we did, except, Ooze, you and I were going to try and do it right this time. And we will
Exactly
skip.
how it was supposed to be.
We'll skip Dunami and Tom because they are both new to this game. And I'm going to ask the characters to tell us how they got here and what they were doing in about a sentence or two.
So I guess I'm up first. Aeonix came by his invitation normally. It was his family came for years until his parents no longer came, and he's back to fulfill his familiar obligations.
Amazing.
Awesome. So Dueler kind of had a run-in with some not very nice mouse folk, and in the process of chasing them off, he found himself in a bird nest where he actually found the invite and decided to go, and that it was fate telling him that he should go there and check it out.
Akka was told pretty well by his superiors that he was to go in their stead. They received an invite, but the higher ups at the cliffs were not able to leave, so he is going as a liaison.
Ascanius found his invitation on the body of a dead mouse on patrol and feels that it is his responsibility to show up and tell somebody that the mouse is dead. And then once that's done, he's gone. So he's got a job to do that he hasn't been able to do yet.
And Nutella goes to the Gloaming pretty much every year. Her family goes every year as well. Her favorite part are the different carnival games, and she always brings her family's favorite chocolate spread with her that everybody enjoys eating, including herself.
Chocolate hazelnut spread.
Chocolate hazel. Well, it was implied. It's chocolate. It's Nutella. She brings Nutella. There's no canon.
Brand
of
name
it.
Nutella.
She named after the
We are
spread.
not sponsored.
Not a sponsor.
There's no
Not yet.
sponsoring
Yet.
happening.
Not
That is
yet.
what
We'll eat it.
sponsorship.
Yet.
Look, Nutella,
Call me
if
up.
you call me up, I will literally DM while eating it and giving myself a terrible tummy ache. And
Yeah.
D&D Beyond, you give me something to eat while I DM, and I'll eat that too, man. I don't know. I'll do it. You come to me, and we'll make it happen. I'm just saying. I ain't too proud to beg, eat and snack. So when
Inside check. Our DMs are so poor they can't eat.
I don't know what to say about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say this. What happened last when we were on our game is that Nutella had just finished playing our first of the fair games. She dove majestically into a giant bucket full of seeds. And down in the bottom, she knew that there would be treasure, and she found incredible treasure of a ring of protection, which the children around her, not the other children, she's an adult, I think.
I am not a child. I'm not really maybe a real adult either, though.
Somewhere, so like all of us, basically.
None of
like
us here
20?
are.
The middle ground.
Yeah,
Whatever
yeah.
that is in mouse.
Yeah, exactly. She
She's
had
still on her parents' health insurance.
Oh, nice. Good. That's a big deal in mouse folk culture. So she has wowed the children around her. And what had happened last was that our good beetle friend Ascanius was looking for the missing seat at the tables. Excuse me, to find the single person who might be out of place so that he could get his job done. He believed that he had found it when all of a sudden a frog in luxurious garb, followed by a smaller frog in equal but smaller luxurious garb, was going around lavishly bragging about the gifts that they had received. This frog's name was Zolasi, and what he talked about was the balloons that hung from the sky. That was new. These massive glowing balloons that hung along the back corners of this giant field, like a football field in length in mouse terms, where this festivity was happening. He also talked about almost a forbidden prize that he had brought, that there was a terrible monster of feather and meat that he was presenting as a gift to the fine folk here. But we are going to leave that for a second. And we are going to dial back, and somewhere along a path heading towards light and music and sound within the darkness of a full moonlit night, there is a lizard folk druid with the head, correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, but with the head of a small bird skull kind of resting on top of his own head. Am I right in that?
Yes.
Yeah. And he is making his way through the woods. Now, Tom, I have some ideas why you might be here, but why is Nox currently searching in the night in the middle of some of the safest parts of the valley? This is very far from the cliffs from which you are born and spend most of your time.
So Nox left the cliffs long ago and occasionally looks up at them and remembers that he doesn't belong there anymore. He then looks back to the ground and finds a cool stick and tucks it into his cloak. Coming down the path in the dark, in the moonlight, it doesn't look so much like a lizard as some sort of shambling collection of feathers with this bird skull on top of it, just sort of wandering down the path, occasionally stooping to find cool rocks. He had been on his merry way wandering around, and he had stumbled upon a piece of litter blowing into caught in a bush, and seeing a shiny thing, he picked it up, and it was an invitation. Its rightful owner unknown, but parties often have lots of shiny things left over on the ground and in the air, and so he has been drawn in, and is currently kind of looking up at these glowing balloons. Not sure that he's ever seen anything quite like it, and just to give a good look at it, he has to take one tongue swipe of each eye first, just to get a good clean view of this.
That. Once you're sure that you're not seeing anything, let me describe these things for you. These hang from large pieces of twine, and you believe that they're made of like patched together fabric, and there are two right on the ends of this long wood inn. This is one of the biggest above ground single domiciles you've ever seen. You might have skirted in or around above ground Mousefolk villages, but all of their houses are small stone or mud or wood huts. This is giant. This is a proud tree that has fallen and been used well. The two balloons that hang closest to you, they both glow separate colors, and you can tell that there are two at the back. Also, they're harder to see, but they equally glow. The one to your left glows like a dull brown. You can't tell if it's the fabric itself, but it's like muddled light that kind of pulses a little bit in and out of it. The one to your right is more of a brilliant light blue that flashes. There's just single flash in it. The dark brown one, there seems to be a couple things that seem to bump around inside. And it's hard to tell because of the other light. But you can tell that the other two are different colors than these other ones. The glow is farther away and tucked in. Make a nature check for me, please, with advantage.
Where'd I put my thing? Okay. That's a 16.
Okay. So you were thinking about these balloons for a minute. You're like, what's up with these? But then there's something else that is going on. There is a cloud coverage that begins to form that just wasn't there before. And there is like a pulling sensation to go forward. It's beyond this inn, right? There's like, you can get the sense that you need to go, there's something that's happening or is going to happen past the inn almost. And you can't tell if it's nature or in your bones, but there's something telling you that there's an event that will transpire.
So Nox picks up his staff and looks at the bones dangling from it and jiggles them a little bit and taps it on the ground a few times and looks back up and thinks, all right, this seems like a good place. And he heads forward where he feels to be drawn.
Awesome. Sorry. And so what you walk in to this big open room. You walk through the door, and the whole floor, the whole bottom floor of that space is incredibly high and just long and open like the oak itself. You see the windows, you see empty tables, you see piles of food that have been half eaten and empty plates. You can tell that there was more here. And there is a single bartender, a mouse, kind of gray, black fur with spectacles and a brown cloak, a white dress shirt, kind of tending a long bar at the far back. And there's a couple people back there. And he kind of looks up at you and he nods and he just kind of waves. And he says, "Oh, welcome, pleasure to have you. Everyone's out back. Excuse me," and then kind of gets back to tending those two people. He seems to be having an argument with a couple mice that he seems to be familiar with. And there are right in front of you, just across the length of the room, there are two barn doors that are wide open. And you can see light coming in from there, and you can hear sound and music, and there's a waft of a smell of spices that kind of comes in on a wind. So the party is clearly beyond that space.
So Knox looks around, he sees the half-eaten plates, and kind of goes over, does the tongue flick over them to see what seems to have been eaten here, and then he brushes off the plate and tucks the plate into his pouch, and
Nice.
Then sniffs the air again, and heads towards scents, scents unknown.
Perfect. Yeah. And so you walk out into this giant field, and you see beside you, you see tables sprawled out all over. You see they're of different sizes and shapes. Along the back of the wall of this log, you see another bar tended by a couple mice, smaller, fighting and trying to keep everyone their drinks full, right? There's a bunch of different pots that they are pouring from. You see in the middle, you see two long half circular tables where most of the food senses are coming from. They're just piled amazingly high with food. And you see lines of guests kind of running on both sides of them, kind of picking and filling plates and going back to tables. Along your right, you see that there is the original spot, that the trunk of the tree, which steam and smoke is coming out of like a chimney. And beside that is a table with bat folk who seem to be playing some kind of game with a couple mice. One of them's hanging upside down, and the other one seems to be working some kind of ball and cup game for the mice. On the other side, you see a giant wood barrel that you see mice dunking themselves in and out of and pulling stuff out of their mouths and unwrapping it and eating it. And you see just like kids flipping each other, and you swear that you can hear them talking about someone getting the prize already. You see there is a very tall glass jar, and at the top of the glass jar, there's a large, stout old mouse swigging from a giant bottle, sitting on something, and beside him is a target. And there's a line of small mice trying to throw things to knock their grandpa off into the water. You also see that there are two small girl mice who are trying to set up, it looks like a bench on its back with a fulcrum, and it looks like there's something in a basket on the end of it, and further down there's like a pit with fire in it, and they're trying to set up some kind of game that's a little bit hard to read. So this is the event that you see. And before we get to everybody else, because we're going to get back there in a second, tell me how Nox is exploring this space, or what's he going to take a look around for before we kind of cut to where everyone else is for a minute.
Knox is sort of taken aback. This is more warm bodies than he's seen in a long time, and he is just astounded by all the things going on. He is particularly interested in this fiery device these children have set up, and that sounds like the perfect kind of thing for children to be doing, and he wants to lend a hand with that. So he starts to wander over and say, yeah. No, you're doing this wrong here. You need to move this here to get better leverage into your angle here. And he starts to explain this to them.
For a minute, these two, one of them is taller and you can tell older. She wears a simple dress, and her sister is dressed the exact same as her, but you can tell there's an age gap between them. They look very similar, body shape slightly different, but clearly related. And they look at you, and for a second they pause and freeze, especially the older one, kind of not sure what is in front of her. But then the younger one kind of looks up at you, cocks her head to the side, and says, "Oh, okay. Can you help me with the cat?" And you see that beside her, there's a bag of seed or something that is shaped like a monstrous animal, with mean eyes, and they've clearly drawn on it. And she says, "It's just too heavy. I can't get it into the into the basket." And she's trying to like drag it into this thing to get it into her catapult basket, basically.
Oh, certainly. So he just goes over and picks this thing up. I assume this is just a tiny a child-sized thing that's just too heavy, and it's just not a problem for an old, wizened.
Oh yeah, yeah. Both are good. Both
yeah,
are good.
whatever.
Listened.
Words.
Wisified.
Nice. Yeah. So
Who's next?
you pick up this, it's a grain bag. It is shaped like it has ears and it has legs and a small tail, and it fits in this basket that they've hammered to the bottom of a bench. And beside it, you see like a makeshift hammer that is far too big for them. And you can see that they're trying to point this thing towards this bucket of fire that they've created. And looking on it, you even see that they've written fire on the bucket, with an exclamation point or two.
In red pen.
With the backwards E and everything, right?
Yeah.
Like just like that, you know. So they're like, "Oh, thank you so much. That means the world to us." And they're finally got their game together. While this is happening, the rest of you, who are currently here, are within earshot. Oh, actually, Dueler and Akka, we're gonna see where you guys are in a minute, okay? But no, Dueler, you came
I think I
by.
came out.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
came out. Yeah, you came out, and Ascanius.
Yeah, Dueler's name was mentioned, and he was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Just popped up.
Yeah.
And he, so this frog in this beautiful blue robe with a burgundy kind of undershirt and matching pants with some gold inlets alongside of it, and his little friend dressed the exact same but with also a burgundy hat that kind of goes back and droops down almost halfway down his back, and the sleeves too big for him, so his frog hands kind of hang out of it like this. Zulasi is saying, "Oh, my friends, you great warriors, you must have," and he points to Dueler and he points to Ascanius, "you must have heard of the terrible monster known as the Chicken." Yes.
Have we?
You know what? Make a history check with advantage, and you guys can tell me if you have.
Okay.
This is up to you, and we'll see how the dice roll as well.
Cool. A +0. Interesting. 14 for me.
Yeah.
That's what I got too.
Okay. We will say that you know of birds of prey, and there are wildfowl within the Whisperwood forest that is on the outside of the valley, which is the valley is centered in. And so while you might not have fought these wild fowl that kind of skirt and scurry around, they are hesitant and unpredictable creatures. You have heard of patrols that have come in, turned a wrong corner, and found themselves face on to a couple, right? And how you know them, at least the versions that you see, they stand monstrously high. Their beaks can crush something with a single peck, right? Their talons are as long as any spear in its full length. These are terrible
Right, they've got
monsters.
the deep reverberating cluck
Yeah,
that just puts fear in the bones of everyone. Yeah.
yeah. That terrible whoo can be heard
Yep.
echoing.
Yeah.
It can sound very different in Australia, apparently.
We're learning something new every day. But so you've heard of these things. You can decide if you have seen one or not, right? It's entirely up to you.
I mean, I feel like Dueler would claim he had.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm just trying to think of like. So, yeah, at the point where this croaky like points at me, it's like, oh yes, you surely will know. Dueler would kind of puff up his chest and stand with like his one hand on the blade of his sword and kind of like just look off into the distance and say, lad, I've known a chicken. And then he just stares back at the croaky.
And like and this makes him, he puffs his chest up with pride that someone understands, right?
Yeah.
And he turns to Ascanius and and he says, have you known the terrible fiend that is the two-legged chicken? And you notice as well that every motion he does, the small one behind him does silently, just like no speaking, hands the exact same, just everything watching each time. Ascanius. And everyone in the circle, there's a table who he was talking to. Now turn and look at this Beetleborn paladin to see how he'll answer.
Right, and I'm looking. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's an empty seat.
There's one track.
I mean, I'm a
And it's
beetle
not
on a
a-
mission. I haven't seen one. Perhaps some of the mice here at this table. I see. There's an empty seat. Who are we waiting on here still?
One mouse. I love it. The mouse sitting beside the empty seat is a very large mouse, to the point that you think that he has been eyeing this second seat as kind of a proxy seat to himself. And
Well, I've got good news.
He's got a white button up with his brown fur kind of puffs out of at the buttons, and there is already squash soup that is on it, and you can see that like he's wiping crumbs off of his whiskers, and he says, oh well, that seat is for my cousin. That's for Cheddar. We haven't seen Chet in a while, actually.
Yeah, Chet.
Yes, do you know?
Oh no, Chet!
Do you know my friend Chet Bowler? Do you know him? He's my cousin. I haven't seen him in a fortnight.
Yeah. Mouse folk about yay tall. Like mottled brown and black fur.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
usually he keeps it pretty unmatted, but that sounds like Cheddar. It does sounds like him. Yes, why? Have you seen him?
They're speaking. Yeah.
While you're talking, he's looking at you, and he just like grabs for some without looking. He grabs and gets a giant piece of cheese and jams it in the side of his mouth, and he's just chewing still. And you're like,
Okay, let's just get this over with. Actually,
Uh-huh.
I was meaning to talk to somebody about Chet. Is there somewhere we can go to talk real quick? I don't want to interrupt this gentleman's fantastic story about his horrible death bird, and I just thought maybe there was a way that we could talk, somewhere and still let him and Dueler discuss how much they know about chickens.
Oh. He kind of looks, and you can tell he really doesn't want to get up, but he's like, oh, why don't we go buy well, my plate's half empty. Why don't we go buy the food?
Well, we should fix that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your name?
Iscanius.
He puts out a very sticky paw, and he puts his hand out, and he says, my name is Bombadar Jambelly. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Iscanius uses one of his secondary hands
The
need
small
for
ones?
most things.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a pleasure. We should talk.
We should grab my second plate. We'll talk by the food. And he grabs
Well, you're in luck because I have 4 hands.
Oh, then I have a third and fourth too. You should grab them as well.
Great. Let's go talk.
Ascanius gets a new job as a mouse waiter.
Well, no, Ascanius is just figuring if there's anything he can do to make this guy happy a little bit here, because he's about to really ruin his day. That's what he's going to try to do.
All right.
So
while you're doing this, you can tell. Okay, so you can tell that that Zolasi the frog is kind of impatiently waiting. That his story was interrupted, and he sees that it's happened, and he turns to Dueler and he says, "Now, my friend," and he says it loud enough that everyone can hear him. He says, "You do not have to worry. Through the power of magic, we have found these great beasts and made them very small. So small that we are able to kill them very quickly." And you see that, and what was only the exact replicas, you see that his small friend has gotten his hands out of and makes an illusionary chicken, and you just see this chicken go, like, chicken look around for a second and then go like that, and then we have then in the deep kitchens of these mice, we are cooking them currently, and after the first meal is done, you will taste something that is divine by nature, exquisite on any palate. May I tell you, I have tasted one myself, and it is something. It is an expensive gift, but it is a gift I bring for my friends the mice.
And
I think that Nutella will have heard this talk from a distance and be like, "Tell me more about this delicacy." From behind, clearly not part of the conversation. Like he's facing this way, and she's like, "Tell me about your food."
Dueler, are you gonna say anything?
So after he kind of goes through this whole rigmarole, Dueler is just he's kind of standing there, looking, thinking, and he knows that he's never seen a chicken. He's heard about them, and they terrify him. Yeah. They sound like the worst. Just whole battalions have been wiped out. He's horrified, but he's standing there yeah, oh yeah, of course, yes. And then when they show the chicken in the next snap, he just kind of stands and he says, "May I see one?"
He says, "First, we will talk to this mouse over here," and he points, over towards the one who asked about the flavors. And he says, and then, because I am a man of renown, and he like motions down his belly at all of his things, right? And he says, I will take you down to the kitchens, and you will be able to see, and you may have maybe one of the first tastes. Now let me tell you about the 7 herbs and spices that we have used for this great beast.
Can I have one of the first tastes?
For you, my new friend, you may come with us to the chickens in the kitchen. Please come with me. Now, Aka, as this is happening, you were at the bar. You were drinking a lot, which was new to you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You find yourself, everything's empty, and Ashy, the bartender, is having an argument with 2 mice, and you saunter off. Or are you going to, sorry, I shouldn't assume. Are you going to join everyone?
I think the last thing that happened is he was stuck with Dueler, and Dueler was chatting him up, but then everything kind of opened up outside, and Duel went out there, and I think Aka kind of stayed behind because he had heard about the other.
Yeah.
He had heard about the other Proud Scale, and he was curious about why that Shrek was here.
So here's what we'll say then. You're thinking about this, and then you see, and I'm gonna let you do this. This is a little bit of retcon, but we're gonna see.
Sure.
You see, but you see the head of another Proud Scale kind of come in the door, and what I'm gonna ask you to do is make a stealth check for me with advantage.
Ooh. That's not really his thing, but we'll go for it anyway.
We're gonna get there, I promise. We're getting there immediately.
That's a 13.
Okay, so this is not someone, it is rare, and your like head snaps, almost like you can sense this person, right? Coming in the door. And you snap and you jump behind the bar, right? You jump kind of behind the bar and...
Drink in hand. He does not drop this delicious cider drink he's got because he's never had anything like it.
Yeah, you clamber over, right?
Does a barrel roll.
Yeah, you do a barrel roll and you do one and you land and you kind of land on your back and Ashy hands you another one under it.
Thanks, Ashy.
Oh, no problem. And and then you are able to just peek out enough. And Tom, I'm just going to say that you wouldn't even be expecting to see a Proud Scale hidden behind the bar. So you are able to just peek your snout out enough to kind of follow almost his heat sense from the entrance out the back. And the one thing that you do notice is the feathers. And you notice the headdress. And that is unfamiliar. There are sects within your, like, parts of your culture where that kind of design is a little bit more apparent, but this isn't like anything that you've seen.
Okay, he will, if he can see, he'll stand back up.
Yeah.
And he'll slam his own staff down.
Oh, yep, okay.
And he'll say, "Name and rank, soldier, name and rank."
So what we'll do is we'll say for now that since Tom had already said that he went to help, right? He had left already, right? So you get up a minute too late, right? You see, like, you go boom, boom, and the tail just skirts out, right?
Yeah.
And so following him out, you see, you kind of hide back and you watch this other Proud Scale look around this space. And you're seeing this space for the first time too. The tables, the games, the light, there's a band playing kind of right by the bar, right?
No security.
No security, right? No guard. No patrols. And you see him kind of make his way over slowly towards a game. And he seems to be helping 2 mice lift something heavy, first positioning and then lifting something into a basket. What are you
he
going
would
to do?
he would follow him immediately because
Okay.
he heard about the one, but he hasn't seen him yet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he will. This is a whole other development than the first thing he had heard. But this is a I can put eyes on it kind of situation.
What I would
So-
like everyone to do is make perception rolls. And what I'm going to say is that Tom and I'm going to say, oh, I don't even have to, I don't think. I was going to give, so Tom, you're going to get advantage, okay? And I am going to say that's probably it. Did you roll a nat 20?
Dun 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 dun!
Amazing.
So hold on.
I
So
want to say
Leap.
I have to say thank you, Maz, for my dice.
So Leap, what are you giving away?
Good job, Dice.
What am I giving away?
Bom, bom, bom.
Ooh, you know what?
Do I need
His
to
hair.
add? Do I need to add?
His
Hang on.
hair.
Ah,
Hang on. Let me add some emotes in the regular chat here.
regular chat. Say hi to everyone in the regular chat for me. Regular chat
Agreed.
friends, I'm sorry that I'm not there. My parents described me as a budgie when it came to distractions. I feel like if I like reflective objects, my dad literally once to test this was having a conversation with me, took a knife and went like this to prove his point. And he proved it. I couldn't.
In fairness,
A
most
knife?
people start brandishing a knife, and everyone else is gonna go, "What's with the knife?"
Yeah,
Like,
come on, come
Why
on,
you
Dad.
doing that?
Now, what's up with the
Or-
knife, Pa?
Or in some places, they'll draw their own, and we'll have a soy incident.
Exactly. So let's get perception rolls. So we know we have a 20. Tom, you had advantage. So what did you roll, my friend?
Not a natural 20, but it's still a 20.
A 20. Perfect. Drew, what did you get, my friend?
13.
13. Haley?
Yes.
I rolled a 16.
Lovely. Aeonix?
Solid 12.
Amazing. And Iscanius?
so imagine a number
Diametrically opposed to 20.
between, like, let's say 3 and 5.
Let's say
And-
that.
I'm not gonna say it's a 4, but
But you're not saying
No.
it isn't a 4.
I've heard
No,
it referred to as
no.
under 20.
yeah,
Yeah,
I like
that
that.
is
Well, yeah.
the under 20.
3.75.
Ooh.
It's the
Oh, it is the
3.161216.
Did
So,
you roll
okay.
Did you roll a Cathris nat 20?
well, I add +2 to it.
So let's say that you are too busy trying to find your inn.
I'm on a mission, damn it! Like,
And there are like your plates that you're holding are getting taken and filled, and he has positioned another plate in between the plates. And he
I've
hasn't
never
stopped
seen a
talking.
mouse. I've never seen anything eat this much.
Yeah.
Nothing that size, anyway.
Lamadar means business, man. This guy is out to get his food in, so you
I have
don't
too
notice
many-
anything. Haley, you are waiting. You are watching this frog and this other mouse who you haven't seen before, but looks like a warrior, come towards you, and you look up, and cloud coverage has come out of nowhere. Right? It is almost as if it is centered in the middle of this space. It doesn't blow in. It's just a forming of a cloud, right? What you notice, Tom, is you notice that as well. You look up and you get that tugging feeling again. And you see these clouds up first, but the tugging actually is almost pointed to the earth. And it reminds you of a story that your family told you when you were young about a place on the cliffs and the people who went there. But for the life of you, it's like right in the back of your mind at this moment, but you're trying to dig at it and you know that there's something there. And Akka, what you see, you notice these clouds, but then you realize that as you were coming out, there were shell-kept snails. You've heard of these people, and they were making their way in. They were just coming in quietly on their own into the inn, as if nothing was happening, but they were all just orderly. There was 3 of them coming off of some corn, and they were kind of just coming into the inn on their own. Then A minute after this happens, there is a crack of lightning on the earth itself, right in the middle of the semicircles of food. Just a, and immediately there's thunder. There's another crack of lightning, and thunder erupts, all of it localized within this field. Nothing's hit, but there is shock, and
So
there's
the food
awe.
is okay.
The food is okay. Bombadar throws up his soup in
God.
fear, and it
With his
lands,
hands or his body?
and it goes up, and it lands on him,
The
and
bowl lands on his head, upside down.
sideways, squash dripping down his body. But you, Ascanius, you feel the ground begins to rumble, and above but beneath you, it feels like it's rising, and it feels like it's rising more right where that first lightning hit, and it rises and crests, and it's right in the center of where the food is happening. What are you going to do?
Anyone in particular?
Ascanius, you're closest, so why don't you go first?
Well, I think probably muscle memory kicks in.
Yep.
Because I'm a soldier, so it would be. I don't care about this food. So plates drop, shield comes out, spear comes out, and I guess I would interpose myself. I would interpose myself between this lightning and this corpulent mouse that I'm with.
He tries to catch the
Scanius is a big dude, right? Like, I mean, these beetles are... But I still don't know that I would entirely obscure this mouse.
No, you obscure most of him, but not all of him.
Okay.
And so everyone else reacts like defensively. They move, they center. You can tell the rumbling is getting louder. The thunder and lightning are crashing around you. It is completely localized. And then there's a ground swell, and from it starts cresting, and rubble and dirt start popping up almost like a volcano, and a terrible claw crests out of the ground in the middle and pushes the dirt away, and another ancient large claw pulls out, and a giant head of a badger pulls himself out from under the ground and lifts his body covered in incredible things out of this earth as the thunder and lightning erupts. And in that moment, Sam Hotep, Knox remembers the story of the stone badgers, and he remembers how these large, in D&D terms, but giant creatures have a place up in the cliffs, and it is to be left alone, and it is to be respected, and one must never mess with the things there. And it is at that moment that Dunami, your character, pulls himself up out of the ground and finds himself in the middle of some weird party. And so so please introduce your stone badger to us and tell us how he reacts to what he finds around himself.
Right. So if we're saying that the beetles and Iscanius is a large dude, this claw that comes up is at least half the size of him, and the badger that pulls himself up out of the earth, shedding dust and ground and dirt of like from centuries, is probably 4 times the size of him. An enormous slab of stone. It feels like a pillar is coming down, and then he hoists himself up on it, and you see thousands and thousands of runic inscriptions on this ancient stone sword. There's this like white of his head pierced by these like 2 sable strikes that go backward, and then across these enormous shoulders is what you could best describe as scrolls, paintings, and lashed together all along the back are enormous stone tablets of various sizes, almost forming like a scale mail cloak. All of this lightning gets sucked right into him, and he just issues this bellowing kind of like. He stops, his nostrils flare wide, and he says, "Smells like chicken."
The chicken.
Yes. Oh yes.
And this, yeah.
Yes.
Oh my
And
goodness.
and then it's like a boulder tearing down a mountainside. This enormous form barrels towards the source of the smell.
Amazing. And so we're going to take our break in a minute, but what is going to happen first is mice disperse and flee. Anyone around the immediate, like all of the rubble is surrounded within the food, but the rest of the exterior seems to be fine now that the thunder is all that's left echoing through the clear night. And after that thunder, you, my good stone badger friend, are distracted momentarily from this smell. From high up, you hear a terrible pop, and then another one, you hear a pop, and then behind you, you hear a pop and a pop.
Not the balloons.
Oh no.
From these balloons, these large, grotesque, mutated fireflies with
No.
maws that hang with different kinds of light or color kind of flowing out of them just buzz in the air, and they look down at the party and they just begin to dive bomb. And we are about to take our break, and afterwards we are going to roll initiative. So thank you for joining us for our first half. Dunami, I'm sorry that it took us up until that point to get you here.
I
but
like
oh
to
my
make an
goodness.
entrance. What can I
That
say?
It
was
was a very dramatic.
It was an
It was a
entrance.
ballin' entrance. That was good.
Hufflepuffs are supposed to be nice.
I have been waiting. Dune and I have been talking about this moment for weeks, and I couldn't be happier. I am honestly.
It was
so
good.
excited.
It was
Oh,
very
amazing.
So
All I care about is now I have something to sprite.
Yeah.
He wouldn't tell me what it was,
mhm.
and I can die happy now.
You were
I
trying
can't wait
ask
to
us
see
before.
the like
I like at
group
the end. You're
picture.
just like, what are you playing?
Oh man. So we are gonna take a 2-minute break. It might be 4 or 5. We'll take a bit of a break. We're all
We'll
gonna
be
go
back when
pee
we're back.
However long it takes us all to go pee. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
together.
Yeah.
Everyone leave. Everyone on the count of five. Count
Okay.
5 Mississippis and then go pee. All right.
Okay.
See you later. Bye.
One.
And we're back. Welcome. I hope you all counted. I hope you all peed. I know we did. So, I don't know if it was cut off before I said that. I actually can only pay so much attention, but it might have been cut off before. I said we all had to count 5 steamboats and then pee. So if you,
You
didn't
said
hear
Mississippi's.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! What are steamboats? We're talking America units here.
Sorry,
Mississippi.
Mississippi's, right? That Imperial Mississippi, not a metric steamboat.
That is
No
my new
Canadian
thing.
Saskatchewans here. This is Mississippi.
All right. When last we saw our heroes 5 minutes ago, a incredibly ancient and powerful warrior known as from the species of stone badgers, a species that has been almost lost in the annals of time, has arisen from the ground in the middle of a lovely Thanksgiving dinner and was racing towards
Does he have an invitation?
He's
No
making
ticket.
his own.
No ticket.
No ticket. Yeah.
No ticket, no entry. Sorry, we gotta turn you back.
Now the problem here is this is your competition, Nutella. Like he's gonna get to that chicken
He's
first.
gonna eat it first. I want the first taste of the herbs and spices.
He's gonna eat a snack.
The
Man.
7 herbs and
There might
spices.
not be anything left after he eats it.
There might be an herb left
This
or a
is going to be a good
spice.
character moment for Nutella, I think.
Yeah, I think maybe I'll just go with that. She's gonna start running in the same direction.
Side to
Spices. God,
She doesn't
Side
see the
by side.
fireflies. She's just like food. This is
all right.
We
And-
get the side by side one.
It's like I imagine that in like good old like Samurai Jack cartoons, there was like the cut along the middle, and you saw one, and you'd see the other.
Yep.
Yeah, her legs are moving really, 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 really fast, but
Yeah.
Another thing you can sprite.
We are also here to play Dungeons and Dragons, so we're going to do some of that. And what we saw last is that from the sky, hidden in the balloons, the light sources were terrible mutations of fireflies that have, whether it's the thunder and lightning, whether it was just a matter of time, have burst from their prisons and see delicious prey that they are beginning to descend upon. So what we are going to do is we are going to roll initiative for the very first combat of table 2, and we are going to get in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask, we're going to go by numbers. So everyone roll, and we're going to go like a certain number chunk so I can write it down in time. So let's do it.
Let's pray.
Okay, so who got...
you guys can't see this, but that's a 20. So that's
Oh yeah.
Noise.
Let's give away
I'm
free
the
character
fastest
portraits,
beetle.
right? On 20s.
Well, I mean, you were already on guard. You
No, that is totally like on brand. That is
It tracks.
a battler.
It totally tracks.
and Dweller's too distracted talking, I'm sure.
All
Oh
right,
yeah.
So
Yeah.
20. So we'll say
That's a
above
21.
20 to above 20 to 18. Does anyone else have anything in that range? Yeah, Akka. All right, Akka's up next. Followed by that, we're gonna have.
I actually had an 18.
You had an 18. Akka, what
Yeah.
did you have?
18.
18.
Alvin was
oh.
Alvin, what did you have?
An unnatural 20.
Ooh,
The
my
dirty
goodness.
20.
Oh my god.
Gotta get dirty.
So well.
It's a
All
dirty
right.
20. That's
dirty- Oh, that's gross.
That's what they're called, because it's
Oh,
not
that's
a natural.
That's a
Who calls it that?
unnatural.
everybody on DCA.
Yeah, everyone on DCA, that's where I got it from.
I love it. Okay. And so you, Akka, and
Our Technomancer is agreeing with us in case you can't see it on the stream.
Akka, what's your dexterity bonus?
It is my initiative is a +1, and
Okay,
Dex
and-
is +1.
Perfect. And how about you, Nutella?
A +2 for Dex.
Okay, so it's going to be Nutella then, and then Akka. So who has from 17 to 13? I don't know. Anyone?
I have a 14.
You have a 14? Okay,
Yeah.
so it is going to be.
Not too distracted talking.
it's going to be Dueler, and then it's going to be the Fireflies. And
Snuck in
then,
there.
anything
Hey, we found security.
We found security. Anything to like 14 to 10. Yeah. Okay. Nox. Awesome. Perfect.
Stone Badger is slow.
And then, sorry, Dunami, what's your Stone Badger's name? We haven't introduced him yet.
Well, he hasn't been introduced, but people on the stream can see that his name is Gindrock.
Gindrock.
That's awesome.
Gindrock is wrapping it up. So, Iskanius, you spring into action. What you see, you can tell me which way you're facing, but you're kind of right in the middle of it. So, here is what you see. From the ones closest to the inn, from one of them, the one that was like shaking and brown, you see two that kind of come out. It's like their bodies are shaking off like a light soot or something. There's like a cloud that hangs around them, and their maws, it's almost like a skull hanging, and it's just like pouring out of their mouth like sand almost. And the one beside
That's probably not healthy.
No, I think they should get it looked after.
These are nasty, nasty lightning bugs.
That's gross. I wanted them to be cute and cheerful.
I'm sorry.
Right? I was so excited the last game. Like, oh, we
Hollow
got
Knights
lightning bugs. This is
vomiting
great.
disgusting
Maybe
creatures.
Okay,
they'll
so
be
those guys are
fairies.
like right above me.
They are kind of you're in the middle, and it'll take you a move to kind of get there. They're diving down, so they're kind of like you would be able to meet them into a combat. They're not quite on the ground yet, but
Okay,
there's also
where'd the big mouse I was with go?
He has literally dropped to the ground and has covered himself.
Okay.
You can't
Please
tell
stay
if the
with
table
plants.
was on him or if he covered himself on the table, and you can think that he's like trying to position plates around him, and like both defensively and also that there's like full pieces of food on some plates that he's
Okay.
trying to
Then
pull with
Pieces
his
of
defenses.
cheese.
Yeah.
Okay, I know what I'm doing then.
Yeah.
I'm gonna grab him and like with one of my sets of arms, like pull him up and go. We gotta run. Like you gotta go.
Whoa! I don't know if my. Okay, I'm gonna. Okay, well if you say so.
Just like
Do we
Iskanius
think
is
he's run a lot?
flustered. Like he doesn't want to talk to this guy anyway. He just like. So he's like,
Yeah.
no, just shut up and go, or you're gonna be as dead as your cousin. And he like shoves him and pulls his shield up, and he's backing up. So he's got the shield up, and he's like walking backwards and like.
Are you mom arming him?
Yeah. Well, I've got all these extra arms, right?
Yeah.
So like with one set of
Triple
arms,
mom
he's like,
arming.
yeah, he's like grabbing him and moving him while still holding the shield, and he's got his spear up, and he's like, go, 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 go.
He's like, I'm
So
going,
we're
I'm going. And he tries, and you can see that he stumbles and he trips and he gets up and he like doesn't even and he's like
Okay.
just really bad at it, but he's trying to run back.
Yeah, I don't think I've got.
He looks like when he runs.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no, I'm good. We're gonna move for now. That's my priority. Is just
Perfect.
getting him away.
So you see these two come out from one side, which is the right facing you now, and on the left there's a bigger
Okay.
one. It is shaped similarly, but it's larger in frame, and it is glowing like a white blue. And there is a mist around it that it moves, and the mist hangs in the air, and then it follows, and the mist kind of is pouring off of this thing. And it seems that it looks similar, but it's not. It's like almost like some kind of like crystalline something, like white blue crystallines are coming out of its
Sure.
mouth. And then behind you, if you care to look, there is two. One of them is very similar to the blue one, except it's red and bulbous, and it's like magma just kind of coming like out of its mouth, like a volcano pouring out. And the other one is surrounded in white gray like cloud almost. And all of these things are starting to dive bomb this party.
I guess like snap decision, magma bad, so we're gonna like shove towards the other one.
Perfect.
Because I don't know what it is, but it can't be worse than lava in my mind.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
What we
Perfect.
should think.
So you're heading towards that set part. You see that there's like some tables that are still standing. Some have been knocked over either by thunder or by people kind of fleeing in any direction. There's a long stalk of corn that is half eating. That is high. It's like actually as high as you are. But it kind of lies along the side too. So there's different things, chairs and tables that you could use defensively or just get around or whatnot.
Sure.
Okay. And that's your turn. You're happy with just moving for now, right?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
Drew. Nope, never mind. That's my wrong group. Aeonix, you were at your table.
So excited.
Yeah,
You were
so
at your table. You saw all this happen, right?
Yeah.
And just insanity has begun.
Yep.
What do you do?
So Aeonix had been going around doing the whole idea, been a while, taking condolences type thing. And then when the fireflies bust out, because they are the apparent hostiles, he starts shoving whoever he was talking to behind him as he throws back his overcoat and spins out 2 pistols.
Oh yeah.
And he
Matrix
just starts walking backwards, firing acorns. Because
John Woosh.
acorns. So he's just going walking backwards, you know.
Nice. Okay, so tell me there are 2 dusty brown ones. One that is like white, bluey. There's a magma one and like a misty, foggy one. Which one do you want to attack?
I'm gonna go for the white misty one.
Okay. Okay, cool. That sounds good.
It's a bad choice.
No. I was just trying to say.
No,
'cause,
no,
like,
I'm
one of them
heading
is,
there.
like-
Kill it. That's good.
Yeah. Let's do
I'll
that.
try. We'll see how it goes.
So let's roll your attacks. You get the first attack rolls, man. Congratulations.
Well, that's gonna be a 26 to hit.
Holy
Yes!
what?
Okay, that hits.
Holy Jesus!
Wow.
Okay. Oh, all right. You hit it.
Onyx OP. OP, please nerf.
No, it's good.
I'm on your team, Ooze.
Nerf after.
Yeah, later, not now.
Alright, so that's gonna be 4 damage.
4 damage. So you kind of you center your
I love
and you
D&D.
and you just see it kind of
Stupid one.
it hits the thorax right in this thing, and it just kind of the thing moves and looks at you and just and then like more steam just kind of like kind of comes out of it. Yeah.
Don't like that.
I don't know who made these things. They're weird, man. I don't know. Cool. No, that's good. 4 damage. Lovely. Next up is Nutella.
Such a good one.
All right, Nutella. She doesn't appreciate her party being messed up. It's not really her party, but she looks forward to it every year. And so she is going to so there's the log house.
Yep.
And then the
And
food,
2 of them.
and
Yeah,
then
there's
the
like
things are kind of over here. So she's going to want to sort of like get herself by like the entrance to the house
okay.
and take sort of a defensive position.
Totally.
But she's also going to cast spiritual weapon.
Oh my goodness, yes.
So what's it look like?
What form does
Yeah.
it take?
What is
that's a good
Nutella's spiritual
question.
weapon? Is it
A
a
Nutella
giant
cup?
jar? Is
Is it a
it
giant jar of Nutella that she hits people with?
Just
Bludgeons people. I
Is it-
think
Yeah.
that's a good question. I should have
So,
thought about this more because
is
I've
it-
known that she has spiritual weapon like since I made her. I think it could be like a butter knife
Like a
with
KFC.
crumbs on it.
Yes.
That is
I
on
like
point.
it. A long.
Like it's just a long butter knife that maybe like 2 sections in it.
Yep.
Like
There's some like brown streaks on it.
yeah, it's like clearly been used for food, but now she's gonna use it to kill some creepy fireflies.
I love it.
It's
And
only ever
so-
been licked clean. It's never been properly.
It's a multitask.
It needs to be disinfected after this.
Mm,
So,
No.
Will she though?
well, maybe not. So,
cool. Cool.
Depends on if they choose to prove to be edible or not.
Oh, that's a good question. Well done.
Like, I don't know if she would eat them, but she probably eats bugs. So, like, I think
Well,
she's
everything's edible.
right. Everything is
Once.
edible.
It just depends how much Nutella you have.
You
Yep.
put on it. So
That-
I think that I will.
Yes, I
you
feel
guys-
creep.
Oh god.
I think that I will attack one of the brown ones.
Perfect. Yep. Two. They
With
could, and
this?
that's perfect. They are coming down towards the entrance. So you place yourself. You cast a butter knife that is as long as you are, and it kind of flies out to meet it in the air. So yeah, let's roll your attack.
Cool. Okay, yeah. I rolled a 15 plus 2. No,
That
wait.
hits.
My spell attack is actually plus 4.
Also
alright.
hits. Just totally worth it.
And now I need to find my d8 because I don't use physical dice that often. Which one of you has 8 sides? This one.
It's the one that screwed me
pyramid.
over.
It's the double. It's
It's
the
the-
double.
this-
It's the double
yeah.
pyramid.
I
Yep.
was like, wait, I'm just like quickly gonna look at
It's the
I
double
love-
D4.
I don't see a 9. Yeah.
double d4. I rolled a 6 plus 2, so an 8.
Nice.
Lovely.
Nice.
Your
Nice,
butter
nice.
knife. Tell me how your butter knife hits this thing, because it does a substantial amount of damage to this
So
firefly.
they're fireflies, so they have wings, right? So
They
it's
do.
going to make like a jam spreading motion, but it's gonna like drag across the wings with the serrated part.
Oh, that hurts my back.
Kind of
Have
kind of like
wings.
you're trying to get the burnt part off your toast.
You hear that toast sound in the air as this thing kind of goes sideways, and it, like, the wing isn't working properly anymore, and it kind of like it actually lands on the ground, and I'm gonna give it a bit of fall damage. It's gonna take 1 point of fall damage.
Nice.
And so it falls on the ground, and it kind of like just kind of pulls itself up onto its legs, and it is taken a substantial amount of damage. One of it, there's a cut on the side, and dust is just pouring out of it. It's just like as if like it's like someone turned on a vacuum, but the bag isn't on properly, and it's just like kind of like right out of its side.
Gross.
Amazing. Yeah.
She'll
yeah,
also
it's-
Also,
say, save
great
some
description.
chicken for me.
Save some chicken for me. Give yourself an inspiration point. That's I love it. I love it so much. Aka, you are up. You've seen all of this happen.
Okay. Aka wants to do 2 things. One, can he still see the other proud scale here? Can he see
Yes.
Nox?
Yeah, you can still see Nox. Nox, I'm gonna give you like, are you like, you're not hiding, right? You're not doing anything like that, right?
No, Knox was actually he had left the children. He had started to approach the table as the lightning struck the ground and the badger appeared.
Mhm.
He's still standing next to the crater left by the badger, just kind of looking at where the balloons were, and now
Yeah.
the hole in the ground and where the balloon.
So if as
The
a,
not balloon.
if a free action Aka could talk, he would
Totally.
say, "Proud scale to me," like assuming you would understand like military cliff tradition,
I mean-
like when you call, you like join rank.
He kind of does the eye swivel thing, and looks over first, and then the rest of his head catches up, and he waves.
Aka looks for a second. He's like, and he realizes there's a bigger threat at the moment. And
Yeah.
Leap, would you
So
say
like
that
an awkward
any of
wave, or
these
like-
disgusting lightning bulbs or lightning bugs
Yep.
are within a 5 feet cube of each other?
I would say
You
that
say yes.
Yeah, I would say that we'll play it like
Begging will
this.
get what you.
We'll play it. Yeah, we'll do this Pat Rothfuss bull stuff right
Who's your
now.
Pat Rothfuss?
And we'll say that as the dust one fell, the other one was swooping down, and you're gonna catch it. It's swooping at Haley, and you're going to catch it. Who's Haley?
Negative.
Who's Haley?
Who's
Dude,
Haley?
Haley!
Yeah.
Haley's
Haley?
not here.
Yeah, you're gonna catch it when it is going through that 5 foot.
Okay.
Because
So-
it is. You're going before it's finished its move. We'll call it that.
You look up and you see the Proud Scale slam their staff down, and their cloak starts to rise up, and he casts Cloud of Daggers, which is super cool.
It is
Tell
cool.
us about it. Tell me about it.
Cloud of Daggers says, you fill the air with spinning daggers in a 5-foot cube on each side, centered on a point you choose within range. That's why I asked you if there were more
Yep.
than one of them there.
It's good.
A
I like
creature takes 4d4 slashing damage when it enters the spell area for the first time, or it starts its turn there.
Amazing. Okay.
So, basically, slam down staff in that general direction. Aka goes, no! And casts the gigantic Cloud of Daggers. Well, I say gigantic, but it's 5x5, which is gigantic for us because we're small.
That is huge.
We're gonna
Yeah,
say
really.
the 5. Imagine everyone's in daggers. Everyone takes the damage.
Right? Yeah, we gotta tone it down a little bit, but still,
Like the spells.
Mass feat, not like human
They
feat.
don't scale.
Yeah. We call it
everyone
claws.
dies. Sorry,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
bad.
You idiot! Roll up new characters.
Well, all right. Yeah. Everyone. Worst
Not
party
my
ever.
mouse child.
No, he's going to try to go up. Like, no, he'll try to aim it like on the
Yep.
up angle, so it
Totally.
gets the stuff coming towards them.
Totally. So I believe this is a dexterity saving roll on behalf
no,
of these guys.
No, there's
No.
no save. It just says they take it.
Wow. Okay.
I
That's
will
about on the
copy and
start of
paste
their
if you want me
turn.
to.
No, no, it's fine. You just give me that damage. That's incredible.
Ooh, I've never rolled this many d4s in my life.
All ones.
Don't worry, that's 1.
Okay.
That's
Alvin.
that's 4.
So 5.
That's
I'm cynical.
6. Because I rolled another
That's-
1.
Okay. 6 total. Yep.
And 9 total.
9 total. 9 total damage.
Now,
So-
do I add my spellcasting modifier to that, or is it just no?
I think it's just going to be that. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think it's
then
just
yeah,
that.
9 total.
Okay. So Haley.
Anything within that range.
Totally. So you see, this one falls right beside you, right? And it's getting ready, like within 5 feet of you, but you can tell. Then all of a sudden, you hear like a, as like all of a sudden this pointed cloud just kind of like flies out of nowhere, and daggers fill the air and kind of hit through this thing up along the wall, and its partner kind of buzzes down into this. So it takes a substantial amount of damage, the buzzing in one, and the other one just bursts. And there is a cloud of dust that just kind of goes everywhere. And I'm going to ask you to make a DC 10 dexterity saving throw to get out of the dust cloud.
Don't know. I'm sorry.
Nutella. Because all of a sudden this dust just goes and washes over you.
I murdered
hold
too
my
good.
breath.
I'm sorry.
So sorry. What am I trying to? Can I try to do something?
Yeah, it's a DC 10 dexterity saving throw.
Okay.
You got
Yeah.
this.
Yes.
You're good.
I have a +2 to dexterity, so
Oh, piece of cake.
I rolled a 7.
Oh no.
It
I rolled a
washes-
5 +2.
Ooh, it washes over you. You
Yeah.
you're not expecting to see it coming. This weird cloud happens and it hits you. You're blind. The dust just kind of comes all over you, and you unfortunately are and it's death saving throw. You are now blind. You're blinded for 1 minute, which means you can repeat the saving throw each on each of your turn to try and end the effect. So basically trying to get the dust out of your eyes.
Got it.
So
Okay.
yeah. So
Aka looks very upset that he caused the problem.
you just see this mouse get lost in dust, and it just hangs there for a minute, right? As
You
another
hear
one.
a sad little.
Oh, that makes it so much worse, Haley. Thanks.
Oh wait, I
Who
could.
is
Can I?
he?
Never mind. No, I'll wait. I'll wait. I was gonna like use my inspiration to reroll, but I can try again next time.
Okay, all right, let's do it that way then. And you can do it at the start. We'll say you can do it at the start of your turn. Oh, and it says at the end of each turn. I'm
That's
sorry.
fine.
But
It's okay.
Dueler, you are up, my friend.
Cool. So Dueler is looking at all these things happening all at once. What of these creatures, which ones are still alive?
So there are 4 alive, one of each color. There is a dust firefly flying down at a blinded Nutella.
Right.
There is one that is like an icy blue that is swooping down near her, but towards more like just mouse folk that are just trying to get away. There is one, a red hot magma that is kind of coming down, and then so spicy. And then on the other side, you see your battle friend kind of moving towards one that seems to be surrounded in like it's almost like an old locomotive. It just seems to be like puffing
steaming
out. Yeah, just nonstop, right?
Okay, so Dueler would see clearly, like he's battle hardened for all of his antics, and he would see the immediate threat being that Nutella is blinded and incapacitated, and this thing might get her. And so he would take his shield out from its kind of back attachment underneath his cloak, and he would draw his longsword, whose name is Dawn, and he would flourish it around.
Now, is that like D-O-N, Dawn?
No, as in the morning light. And
Nutella approves, even though she can't.
and so he does this whole flourish, and with the sword points directly at this dust creature that is swooping down at Nutella, and he basically just begins kind of muttering to himself as he's looking, and anybody close enough to him, which I don't know if anybody would be, but they will hear him basically explaining kind of like the old Sherlock Holmes, where he goes through the fight in his head, and he's like calling all the shots ahead of time.
Yep.
And that's him casting Compelled Duel on this thing, so it has disadvantage on trying to attack anything that isn't me. And also if it tries to go away 30 feet or more from me, it has to try and succeed on a save. But you do make a Wisdom saving throw with a DC of 12, so he might not be compelled.
Right. Well, these things aren't very wise. I can tell
They're
you that.
made of dust.
They're made of dust.
One would think.
They don't have a negative yet. Dust, I guess, is as wise as I am, which is a problem.
I am as smart as dust.
I am as smart as dust. And unfortunately, sorry, what was it? It was a 12?
12, yeah.
I rolled a 13. I'm sorry.
Ooh, that is perfectly fine.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's perfectly fine. So he has cast this, and he's just kind of glaring at this thing, and at seeing that he's not making really any difference in what he's muttering, he just starts booking it towards Nutella.
Amazing. I love it. Now, it is the Firefly's turn. So, Nutella, you are, so all of a sudden, this thing, you're blinded, so you can't see this thing coming. It is going to swoop down. You hear there's dust, and you can't see, and it's in your eyes, and it's like hard to breathe, and you hear like just a buzzing sound coming at
that
you.
horrible sound, like when the bug is right by your ear.
And it rolls poorly, though. It rolls a 6.
Great,
So...
I've got a lot of armor.
Yeah,
so
what's your AC?
it's 18.
Oh yeah, there's no.
I'm a well-armored mouse. I have a shield.
Were you dunking for apples and like plate mail?
Oh, I have scale mail.
That works.
And I also
Yeah,
now
there's a
have
lot.
a shield and a ring of protection. So
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Never mind.
Yeah, you ring.
If she wasn't wearing all the armor, it wouldn't be fair for the children.
It's true.
I would just eat. I would come up and be like, oh,
Yeah.
All at once. Defensively, even instinctually, you throw up your shield, and it comes out. No, you pull your shield up above, and you feel a heavy hit as you like brace, and the full weight of this thing was just coming right at you, and you're able to kind of like push it and lean back as it kind of hits it like a car window shield and kind of bounces off and flies back up into the air. Now the ice one is going to make, no one of you guys are close to it, so what you see is you see the ice one, this blue icy one, kind of open up its mouth and just kind of exhale. Like what you see is like this stream of like cold icy mist, almost like how you see as like dragons shoot fire as they go along. They kind of, it just kind of goes down and just kind of shoots it as it hits the floor, and you see different mice just jumping out of the way as this thing covers tables and food and chairs. No one hit by it yet, but it just made like its first pass with its terrible breath, and then flies back up into the air, just like, and hovering kind of 10 feet off of the ground. Now, Nox, it's your turn. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I forgot the other two, so we'll just go that way. They'll go next time.
So the ones that are kind of hovering, there are some that are still sort of close to the ground, correct?
Yeah, the ice one is close to the ground.
Okay.
I'm gonna say I forgot about the other two. I got too excited. So I'm gonna say that the other two did something similar. That you see that the magma one kind of is in the process of coming down in the ground and just finished like letting go, just liquid fire just onto the earth, burning tables and food, not catching any mice. And the mist one is just making a beeline towards this very large mouse and its beetle protector. And it's just kind of coming. It had farther to go, so it's having to take its full move to kind of get down into a zone where anyone is. So they're all within 5 to 10 feet of being off the ground now.
So the one that is on its approach dive bomb path there, Nox sees that one and kind of figures out the direction it's going, and he embraces his staff in his hands and whispers to it. And when he does so, a vine kind of spirals out in each direction, going up and down the staff, and he runs towards it to try to leap off a nearby table and hit it in the air, trying to catch a wing to kind of knock it off. He saw previously one got taken out and trying to get one of these into a watching one of the a B-22 just kind of crash into the ground. So he does a swing, and that's 16?
16 hits. So I need to ask, fire, steam, or ice? Which one are you hitting?
Oh,
Aka is
That's a
cheering
steam.
in the corner.
Steam?
yeah.
Okay. Yep. So that's the one that is coming towards Ascanius. So
Yeah.
you will have like ran, and you see Ascanius. You see kind of you're walking, and you see this lizard covered in what you assume is ceremonial.
I was gonna
dress.
say,
You've
I
never seen
see a pile of trash run past me.
feathers, right? Just feathers and sparkles
Feathers and moss,
things.
yeah.
Yeah. And it just like hits a table and is just like right out with its staff and just crack right down onto the head of this thing. Let's roll damage.
It's a 7.
Oh yeah, very good. That
Aka is proud.
We see him like jumping up and down in the background.
Like, no, he is like, there is some serious, like, this is my kinfolk, this is what we do. Like, throws down the staff, just
Grindrok
when he lands, he kind of looks up and sees that and waves again.
Grindrock, there are foes distracting you from your purpose.
Oh no.
I know,
It's not gonna
right?
end well for them.
So, how are you going to exact an ancient vengeance on these trifling things?
I'm glad you asked, actually. So I guess my first question is, so where am I situated? I was charging towards the kitchen, and I suspect Nutella was as well. Are we near each other?
I am like in front of the door
Yep.
to inside.
So you were charging towards the kitchen, and then
Yeah.
this small creature was incredibly fast and just kind of ran past you. You hear like a and you see it just run past you, and then instead of going into the kitchen, you see it set up a defensive perimeter, and then one is dive bombing, and you think one of this mouse's allies uses some kind of magic to destroy one, and this mouse is now surrounded in dust and is blindly fighting off a dive bombing foe, basically.
Ah, okay. Still with a sort of a one-track mind, I will to that just short of the dust cloud, but tell me if I'm in like striking distance with my enormous greatsword of the closest one to Nutella.
Oh, easily. Your size, you are at least as tall as the you're almost as tall as the building itself, right? Like,
Okay.
How are you getting to that chicken?
You are
will
going
not
to
Oh,
survive.
I think we all know how.
yeah. And so you're going to be real easy. Like, yeah, it is just a simple swing to catch this.
Okay. Yeah. As Nutella pulls down this like shield wall and like batting up this stuff, all you see is like this enormous stone carved through a good like 10 feet above her head. Hear this like thunderous roar. Action. But first, I'm going to spend a bonus action to rage, if I might.
Yes!
Yeah.
Give me the barbarian, yes!
The lightning just crackles off him, and his eyes fill with white power. He goes out, and then a lightning bolt arcs from the tip of it into the closest.
This is so metal. This is incredible.
So that thing he needs to take what is it? Let me check. A dex thing. A thing with the dexterity dice.
Dexterity saving throw, for sure. I love it. It rolled poorly. What was it trying to accomplish? What was the number?
You know what? It doesn't actually say what. Oh, it's my DC is my 8 plus my proficiency bonus plus my con modifier, which is 8 plus 10 plus.
Yep.
So 12. Hit a bit 12.
Yeah, it got 10, so it does not make it. So
this lightning bolt arcs out, and it takes like a D6 of lightning damage.
Oh yes.
Wait, is that just your bonus action?
That's me raging.
Oh my god, that's so good. Yeah. Oh.
I rolled a 2 on the lightning damage, but it's still 2.
It's still 2. No.
And, bugs don't like being zapped, right?
They don't. That's what they say about it.
So I'll
Except
just
maybe
follow
lightning
through.
bugs.
I'll just follow through with the rest of my swing. Great sword. And the battle cry I do as I do this is I say, "I'm so hungry!"
Oh, all right. Yep. Roll. Slice this thing right in half.
Okay. Okay.
I feel like Nutella's meeting her giant, angry, like, best friend.
Soulmate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
best friend.
Soulmate,
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. I rolled it's not big. I rolled a 12. Does that hit?
Yeah, it does. These things, their AC is terrible. So
Yikes.
you hit them.
That's a 2d6 plus 3 for me.
Okay.
Oh, I actually don't know if that includes my rage damage. Someone
add that
in the
damage.
chat can tell me later if I'm applying that correctly, but I think that means it's 2d6 plus 5.
Yeah, do it for sure.
That's 14 damage off the sword strike.
Oh, decimated. So Nutella, you still can't hear this, but you hear an angry, hangry cry, and it just your sword slices this thing in half, just like clean, like across, and it just. And there is, from a safe distance away from you, because you're so large and your sword is so long, there's just another like an explosion of dust that kind of hangs in the air and just hangs there like a firework, and then just kind of slowly falls down like snow as you decimate this creature. And we are at the top of the round. Oh, do you want to move at all? Grindrock?
Well, I think right now I'd just be taking stock of what's happening. It's a very confusing time for him. He just when you just wake up, you're angry. You haven't even had a drink. You're dehydrated. It's been a couple centuries.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Right.
Totally.
That's fair.
Oh my god, I love him.
Yeah.
I love him so much.
Yeah.
Iscanius, you see the thing that you've been backing yourself towards as the safest bet is already being under attack. The magma one has done a pass and is making its way towards you next. You can just tell by its flight path. And there's an incredible battle that is happening at the mouth of the entrance to the Trailside Inn. And
well, first things first, like free action speak. I'm like, what is with this? Like, I'm asking the big mouse. I'm like, what the hell do you people do with these things?
Eat generally. This is not normally what we do. And
Good
you think
Lord.
that there is.
Did you say dead cousin?
Yeah.
I'm getting to that. Hold on. Give me some time here, Alvin.
I think I'm going to be sick. He's still trying to.
He goes, okay, look, this is all rushed. This isn't how I wanted to do this, but I don't know. We might be dead here. Cousin's dead. I'm really sorry. It's awful. I didn't do it. I want to make that clear. I just came to tell somebody, so now you know. Look, I think you're going to be safe here in a second because they're all killing this thing. Hide. I'm going to go try to kill that fiery one. Anyway, my condolences. And I pat him on the shoulder.
Quest complete.
And then I'm off. I'm running towards the flaming one.
He is shocked. He's still eating. He's
Yes.
Now it's stress eating.
But now it's like stress eating.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
It's moved from stress eating to grief eating.
Grief eating. Yeah, he's crying.
He's like, oh, okay. And you see him tuck himself under a table. Let's hit this magma firefly.
Well, first of all, what are we talking distance-wise? Am I close enough to actually hit it? Is it still a ways away?
No, I would say that with the nature of its flight path, it would take your move action, but you would be able to kind of meet it.
Sure.
It's just finished off, spilling out this hot lava, and it's about to crest back up. So you're going to be able to catch it right there, basically.
Sounds awesome. Okay.
Right?
I'm just using a spear, nothing fancy because I've got a shield. So let's see here. That is going to be a 17 to hit.
That hits.
Okay, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And that is 8 damage.
Ooh, nice. Okay, awesome. You stab right into it. It does not like that. You pierce a hole in it, and magma starts pouring out in one side.
Okay.
It is not nice. So, it is Aeonix. It is your turn. Battle erupted.
Okay, so what do I see still in front of me?
You see every mouse that you've been saying hello to hiding under things and getting away from the damage. Your natural instinct, taught to you by your family, has to check for casualties, and thankfully no one has seemed to be injured yet at this party.
Okay.
Except for the mouse that you briefly saw, who has kind of got dust all over her that she's trying to get. She's fine because this giant badger that grew out of the ground has smashed some things in half, right? That is a thing we need to put a pin in and figure out later. But there is
I have an actual pin.
There is an
We'll
actual,
table that for now.
Yeah. Nice. There is a the ones that you're closest to is the magma one, and I would say the steam one. You were closer to the back, so you see that there is a beetle-born warrior who has just thrust a spear right through a carapace of this creature.
Okay, so Aeonix is gonna stop doing the backwards firing thing, and he's gonna run and jump into a kneeling position and at.
Okay, for sure. So do your roll.
That'd be a natural 20.
It's our frickin' murder otter here.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Hashtag murder otter. Okay.
Murderer otter.
Murderer.
Otter.
Cal will find something and it'll be awful and I'll be so thankful for it. So
I shall tweet this nowish.
now I shall make this happen. All right, do your incredible amounts of damage to my monsters.
I'm still not rolling great on damage. So that was like 9 damage.
9 damage?
That's not bad.
Perfect. That's not bad. Is it? You said the magma one, right? That was the one that you were attacking? Okay, yeah, no, it is holding on. You blow a hole right through the side of it. It just like, and it goes out the other side, and you can tell that it is on its last moments of life, basically. And
Okay,
now,
well,
yep.
I'm gonna burn an action surge because I have.
What?
So then I'm gonna pull my other pistol and sideways at the steam.
Dude, you're like a John Woo movie of my dreams.
What?
This is incredible. Just doves.
Yep.
Right, yeah.
All right, roll your damage. Roll your attack, I should say.
17.
Yeah, that hits. So roll your damage for sure. And just so, because I know that we're getting short on time here, Akka, Dueler, Nox, and Grindrock, just be ready with what you guys want to do. Oh, and Nutella, I apologize as well.
That was 8 damage.
Oh, yeah. So you just one perfect shot, just, and this thing pops like a balloon. Hey, Iskanius, it was the magma one, right? That you were doing?
No, the first one was the magma, second was steam. So
okay. Never mind. I thought you were doing the second one.
Cause he can straight. We got ourselves a movie star here.
So never mind. That one doesn't pop like a balloon. You hit it with, you said 9 damage.
I messed up that quote so bad, and I apologize to everybody.
So it's
Wyatt freaking Earp. Yeah.
Yes, that's what it was.
Yep.
From Boondock Saints. Yes, thank you, Eric.
Oh, I love it. Okay. So
I'm here for you, man.
that's very hurt now. It's very good. It's not dead yet. Nutella, there is dust all over you. Your eyes are filled with it. What do you got to do?
I have a question.
Yes.
I looked up blinded, and it says I can't see, and I automatically fail ability checks that require sight. But it also says that my attack rolls have disadvantage. So does that mean that I can try to just flail around with both my spiritual weapon and my weapon?
Yeah, you can. You can use your mousy ears and senses. I'm even going to say you can use the memory of this place.
Of this place.
Of
And
this
where things
place,
were.
Of when things were. Here's what I'll do. You roll a history check for me. And if you roll well enough, I'm going to take it to a straight roll instead of disadvantage, because you remember how things normally are.
So let me see. Sorry, history. I rolled a 15.
Yeah, you have a pretty good understanding of this place. So
You've
it's
ate a lot of
straight
food
roll.
here.
Yeah.
I've eaten a lot of food here. All right, so I have a bonus action for my spiritual weapon, and then an action for my sword if anything's near me.
Yep. The ice one is close enough to you.
Close enough to me.
Yeah.
Or my mace, I think, is actually what I have. But so my spiritual weapon, I just rolled a 17 plus 4.
Ooh, yep, that'll do it.
Where's my weird triangle dice?
Are you attacking? So you're attacking the ice one with your spiritual weapon?
The spiritual weapon is farther away from me.
Okay.
and I can't see. So whatever is a little far, flail around with my mace to hit whatever's closest to me.
Perfect. Okay, so your spiritual weapon. Let me roll to see if it hits anything. Okay, yeah, it makes its way. You remember briefly because I rolled a 19, so I'm gonna give it to you. You remember briefly kind of where it was, and everyone else sees like this butter knife kind of hang to the side and hang high enough that. And Iscanius, you need to duck momentarily, but this thing just slices right into the magma one. It like goes long, so it has like a really good shot of hitting it, right? So it's trying to get like a wide breadth, but it just goes like and hits this thing. So roll damage for the for your spiritual weapon.
Rolled an 8 plus 2, so 10.
Perfect. Hey, Iscanius, can you make a dexterity saving throw for me, please?
No.
You know,
One-tone
nothing would make me happier. Sure, let me do
Everyone
that.
knows that Dex is a paladin's best stat.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
This giant butter knife pops this thing like a balloon. A balloon full of lava.
Just melt me, sir, please.
All right. So you think that this is under control, and then a big butter knife comes out of nowhere, and you're going to take. Oh, I rolled an 8, and I rolled a 3. You're going to take 11 points of magma damage as this stuff just kind of.
So much damage.
Iscanius hates everything about this party.
Will not be back.
No.
0
no.
out of 10.
Bad
Yeah.
Would not
Bad
party
Yelp review.
Oh no.
It's
Luckily, I'm a
it's
paladin though, so I'm good.
It's a bad squeak review, not Yelp.
Oh,
Squeak.
Yeah.
I like it. Very good.
Brilliant.
All right.
To expedite things, I rolled my disadvantage physical attack. I rolled an 18 and a 19.
Yeah, you hit.
Oh.
You hit the ice method. Did you roll your damage already?
No,
the
because I'm
ice-
trying to figure out what I have to roll. There, it's a D6.
The ice firefly.
The ice firefly.
What's a method?
What's a
Fire
method?
and ice.
Method. I do 4 points of damage.
4 points. Cool. You just kind of flail and you hit something, and it goes angry, and so you think you hit the right thing.
And then I rubbed my eyes and I rolled a 9.
Oh yeah, and so
I'm still blind.
you rubbed it
Sure
further
got
in.
more
You
in.
did the wrong rub.
It's like when you cut chili. Oh, ow, ow.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's on my
Inspiration!
Oh no. Ah.
You have inspiration!
Yeah, you do have inspiration. Do you want to use it?
That's true. I'll try. Let's see.
Okay. All right.
No, it was a 5.
All right. Nope. Sorry.
I should be blind
It's meant to
forever.
be.
Akka, it is your turn.
Akka is done with this nonsense,
Yep.
and he says, "No more." And he slams down his staff, and you see wind start circling around him. And he opens his mouth and he just goes, and he casts Gust of Wind.
Oh my god.
Oh.
So a line of wind 60 feet long and 10 feet wide blasts from you in a direction you can choose. For the spell's duration, each creature that starts its turn in the line must make a strength saving throw against a DC 14.
Yep.
Or be pushed away because he's tired of this horse chicanery.
I'm so excited. So, okay, here, imagine, okay, you are on one side of the.
And
of
he
this whole thing.
sees Nutella being blinded with all the dust and everything else, and he's just like, nope. Hup, hup.
Okay. So you're blowing this way, kind of across.
Yeah, I'm blowing everything as far away from everyone as I can.
Okay. You blow your gusts of wind. 2 mice get pushed into the hole.
Meh.
Because of the wind.
I'm sure they're fine.
Grindrock,
Somebody
you know
clip
that,
that, please. I want that clip.
You know that hole goes down. Forever is a long word, but you know, but that hole is deep as can be. So the mice, you see mice getting blown, you see food, you see tables just. What does this thing have to do? What kind of dexterity saving throw does it?
No, it has to make a strength.
Ooh.
Strength 14.
Oh yeah, with its -2, it does.
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah.
Okay.
And whichever's in a it's in a 10 feet wide blast and 60 feet long. So if I can get all of what's left, that'd be great.
You're gonna have to point it to like there's 2 left and they're on opposing sides. So you're
Oh,
gonna
okay.
get the one that Nutella hit. And unless you are willing to use your full move action to kind of run around.
Oh no, I'll
and-
straight like I will anime run.
Okay, perfect. So
Yes.
I'll give that to you and you can hit both of them. That sounds good. So one of them definitely failed. The other one also failed.
Yes.
Now, what I'm going to ask is Dueler,
Mhm.
Aonix,
Oh, oops.
Samotep,
Sorry.
and Haley make
Who's
a dex-
Haley?
Who's Haley?
Who's
Nutella.
Haley?
Makes a strength saving throw of what? Of 12 you said? A strength saving throw of 12? 14. Make a
I'm
strength saving throw of
so-
14.
I'm
Do we add our proficiency bonus?
Haley, you're gonna have to
Sometimes
use
you
it at
sometimes you
disadvantage.
shouldn't min max. This is kind of bad.
I rolled as 18 minus 1.
Oh, okay, so you made it.
I
Okay,
made it.
that's good. Dueler?
Just 1 minute.
Okay.
It's just
Oh, a natural
Oh
it's
no! Plum plum plum. Not a plum plum
complete,
plum.
the complete opposite.
All right.
You'll spin it into some kind of story. It'll be fine.
Oh, I'm already
The
thinking
rest
of
of
it.
us.
Tom, it's your turn.
17.
17, you make it. Okay. And Aonix?
16.
16, you make it. Okay. So is it half damage or is it just like
It
if they make it, it's-
says, hang on, or be pushed 15 feet away from you in a following line.
okay?
There's no real damage to this spell. It just like
Yeah, it's movement.
moves people
Oh, it's
away.
movement.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. So the one you blow both of these things up into the air, and they kind of one of them, the one that Haley hit, just kind of up, hits the side of the building and flutters away. The other one gets tucked, like gets knocked sideways, and kind of just tumbles in the air and kind of looks down at the trouble and decides that it's not even worth it and kind of buzzes off into the night. Dueler,
Bye.
you are pushed,
Oh yeah.
and then it gets really dark.
You took a tumble, buddy.
I need you to make a dexterity saving throw with advantage.
Oh no, I didn't
Oh,
push you in
man.
the hole, did I?
Okay. 19.
Okay. You fall into the hole.
Oh no!
Fall for 5 feet along the side, grabbing along the dirt, and finally you find a root and you hold the root hard and your body swings hard against the side of it.
Oh no.
You take 3 points of falling damage
Oh no!
Okay.
as you hang in this hole for your
Excellent.
life with only so much that you can grab ahead of you.
Yeah.
And my friends, that is where we are going to end it tonight. So
Can I add one piece of flavor to this?
yes, please add it.
Okay. So Dueler just gets hit. He's wearing a big cloak. So I'm assuming the cloak just like whoa and just jerseys him. And he tumbles and he's realizes he's falling and just instinctively reaches and grabs the nearest thing to him. Feels that like grating along the wall as he hits. And then as as he's holding on there and he's just barely hanging on, and he's kind of old and hasn't really seen action in a while. He realizes that he can hear the clink of Dawn, his sword, falling and falling
Just
and falling.
No!
And he's just gripping as hard as he can on this root and shaking.
I'm going to give you an
Man.
inspiration point for that.
Thank
So
you.
I had no idea Ooze was playing on the enemy's team, but
I shared so many stories with you.
that was wow. Talk about a surprise.
Look, I told you
feel
Douglas
like
left
I'm
me
the
notes, man.
worst.
No, you're the
I
best.
love it. I love
I
it.
think if the DM says you're the
Bad
best,
guy,
I think
but I
that's
mean,
fine
honestly.
there, Ooze, buddy.
Oh man,
Oh my
my
gosh.
my friends,
Oh,
this has been, for some reason, D&D
terrible.
combat is way more metal when it's all small animals. I don't know,
Yeah.
it just seems so
Yeah.
The scale.
cooler.
Yeah.
Thank
like
you so
Ant-Man.
much for coming.
I love it.
I want to thank Dunami for being here. I really want thank you so much, my friend. We barely got to play with you, so I'm really gonna work to see if we can get you back in the stream for our next game, as long as you're willing to. This has just been
Absolutely.
an insane
Awesome.
amount of fun.
Yes, yay.
Yes.
This has been so cool. Thank you guys for watching. We are going to be putting this up on YouTube soon. As long as our recording devices haven't crapped out on us, we're going to be putting this into a podcast as well, with the Thanks of Ember's Tide. Be kind, be careful. Oh, I messed this up. Anyways, be safe out there. I really thank you for coming to Smallfolk.
Heroes
And
come.
remember, thank you. Remember, heroes come in all sizes. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time. Take
Thank
care.
you. Good night.